there, and if you could go here, which I wish I could, and you could stand here and look up there, you would see this. They put all this stuff up in there commemorating his great victories. But look what they have. They have the Roman soldiers, and look what they have. They have the golden menorah. So they looted the temple and took a lot of stuff with them. We don't know how many stuffs they took, but at least they had that. Oh, and the trumpets over there. These are some of the trumpets. So they did steal some stuff and took it to Rome. Okay, so now I made this, and that other one I showed you was real hard to read. So I made this one this week, and I think this one is a whole lot better than that one from the other PowerPoint. So it shows like the first temple period, built by Solomon, destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. The second one, built by Zerubbabel, desecrated by Antiochus during the 167. We discussed all that last week. Rededicated by the Maccabees. That's how we get Hanukkah. Then renovated by Herod from 20 BC onward, and then destroyed by Titus. So this is called the Second Temple period. So you have so if you're ever reading a commentary and it uses those words, then you'll know those words.
Can we go back to that? I'm sorry.
Oh, and if y'all, I told Becca, I think I did. Sometimes I think I tell people something and I just tell them that in my head. I don't really actually speak it out. If y'all ever need any of these slides, like if you want it, just tell me and I can like send it to you in a text. Probably easier. This machine here has gotten dim. It's not really as bright as it should be. So those are not as, it doesn't look anything up there like it does here. So I can always send it to you if you really need it. I didn't know where to put this, so I just put it here just so you know. The Muslims conquered the Holy Land in 637 AD, and they built the dome in 800 AD. Now I've just shown you how the temple was there thousands of years before this thing was there. So I'm just trying to help you to understand who was there first. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the main thing we're going to talk about the rest of the time is the tribulation temple. Okay, so if you remember, those of you that were here when we talked about Daniel and how Antiochus was kind of a picture of the Antichrist and the things that he did, and the second temple were kind of a picture of what the Antichrist is going to do in the third temple. Remember, it said he would exalt himself and magnify himself. And I put this verse in here. Let me make it. I thought I had it in black. It's hard to read red. The reason I put this verse in here is because how did Jesus describe himself? He said he was meek and lowly. And how did the Antichrist describe himself? He magnified himself, and he's just a man. And Jesus really is God, and he's meek and lowly. So you see how they're always the opposite, okay? That's what anti means. It means the opposite. So remember the 70 weeks and all these things. This is from Daniel 9. And the thing about these 70 weeks, which are really 77s of years, the 490 years, none of this is about the church because their rapture is going to happen before those last 7 years that I told you. And I have a picture in here. It's coming up in 1 second. Daniel is very clear that a third temple will be built during the final or the 70th week on that prophecy clock. So I found this picture, which is kind of eerie looking, but anyway, I was looking for the word convergence, the coming convergence. Y'all know what it means? Like if you ever took art They would always teach you how you have this thing called a vanishing point, and everything is supposed to be converging on that point. So if you're drawing a picture, and I know some of you here are artists, uh, you have to kind of like draw draw your images so that if they're supposed to be farther away, you make them smaller, etc. If they're supposed to be close up, you make them bigger. So that's for art, but we can also think of this, these converging lines, we can think of this as far as prophecy, because now us here in our day, we're living in a time where many events are converging. And if we look and if we're open minded, we'll see that these things are converging very quickly. So, for this third temple to be built, as Daniel said, okay, first of all, Israel had to be reborn, and that's already happened, which no one ever thought that would ever happen, okay? Like, if you were alive in the 1800s and you said that Israel was going to come back in a nation, that would have laughed you out of the whole universe. Never would they have said that would have happened. But it did. It had to happen. And then Jerusalem was reunited in 1967. That had to happen because the Jewish people have to have the Temple Mount, right? Now, the Sanhedrin must be reformed or reconvened because they control everything about the temple. That happened on October the 13th, 2004. See, all the rules about the temple, they control all of that. So they had to be in existence before you could have anything about a temple. So they reconvened in 2004. That's already 22 years. And now they've been hard at work doing all these things that I told you they've been doing. That's a picture from how they would have looked way in the past, not how they looked in 2004. So the plans for the temple, all these things the Sanhedrin has done, okay, because they're the ones that have to do this. I've told you about this, but now I found a picture of it. I have a picture of it in my slides somewhere, but this is the golden menorah that's sitting in Jerusalem. And now that's a close up. Now here's a far away picture. You can see it's in a little case so that no one can steal it. It's just sitting there in the plaza. And I know this has alamy all over it because but I'm not selling this PowerPoint or anything, so I didn't feel bad. I'm just sorry this is on here, but that's their copyright thing. But that was a good one, and I just wanted to show it to you. So forgive their watermark. Uh, so if you go to Jerusalem, if we ever get to go on that super duper tour, we'll go here to the little plaza, and you can see this. This was actually funded by a Ukrainian Jew. He paid for the whole thing, and yes, that is pure gold. And that is going to go in the temple when they build it. The Ark of the Covenant. This is just a picture, okay? I have had so many people ask me, where's the Ark of the Covenant? I have no idea, okay? Or maybe it's even gone. There's so many theories, Is it in Ethiopia? Is it in Rome under the Vatican? Is it under the Temple Mount hidden in a secret chamber? I think that's the best theory that people love. There's all kind of conspiracy theories. Y'all know I hate conspiracy theories. They lead to very bad things. There's many conspiracy theories. I have no idea where it's at. Only the good Lord knows. Okay, now I put this in here to answer whoever asked the question last week. I think Tammy and someone else. Maybe Angie. When does all these things happen? So I found this is a great picture. So if y'all want a good thing, this is a good one. So we're here right now, okay? We're here. We don't know how long it's going to be to here. The rapture of the church is all believers are going up. We just don't know how long it is from here, where we're at, to here, okay? It could be 1 year, 10 years. We don't know the day. Anybody who says they don't know the day, anybody who says they know, they're lying. because the Bible says we can't know. But once this happens, then it's very specific. Everything else we know. Okay? So the first 3.5 years, and then in the midpoint, this is what Daniel was talking about, the desecration of the temple. So there has to be a temple for the Antichrist to do this. Okay? Now, here, some people believe, I do not believe this, okay? Rapture in the middle of the tribulation, I don't believe that at all. And I hope none of you do either. The rapture is going to be over here. Some people even believe it's out here. Once this happens, the last 3.5 years is what we call the Great Tribulation. And then, I think the confusion was the rapture and the return, the second coming. This is the second coming. You see, I have the arrow pointed down. This is the second coming. And then the millennium, 1,000 years, the final judgment, and then all of eternity. So, the second coming, look what it says in Revelation. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. In the second coming, the whole world is going to see Jesus. And people used to say, well, how will every eye see him if he's coming to Jerusalem? Well, now we know, right? Everybody will be able to watch it on their phone. It'll be live streamed. Okay, and they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. The second coming, every eye shall see him. And the Bible, and I didn't put all the verses in there, we will be with him. The saints, we will be with him. The rapture, no one will know it happened. Look what Paul said. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord cometh as a thief in the night. When the thief breaks into your house, does he want every eye to see him? He didn't want any eyes to see him, right? He wants to break into your house, get the most expensive thing you have, and take it out. And he's gone. So think of that. Jesus is coming as a thief. He's not a thief, but it's the picture, okay? He's coming to the earth, and he's going to take the most expensive thing out, and that's us. That's all believers. And no one is going to see it. 1 minute we're there, and 1 minute you're gone. Okay? Now, there was a movie about 20 years ago called Left Behind Movie, and this guy plays in it, Kirk Cameron. He's old now. He's young here. He plays Buck in this movie. It was a very good movie, but now I don't like him anymore because he's very anti-Semitic. And I told y'all that once here in this class, which certain people got upset when I said that. But anyway, they're not here today. But he's a terrible person now, but he was good in that movie. Okay? If you want to see a rendition of how the rapture will be, that is a good movie. It's on YouTube. It's free. Because the way they portray it is good. 1 minute, everybody's there, and the next minute, everybody's gone. And I think it's a good portrayal. But remember that all movies are what? Entertainment. So, will that be exactly how it happens? No, because we don't know how it's going to happen. So now, and a lot of this is review, but it all has to come together, and you have to think of all this together, okay, in order for us to get the full picture. Remember, the image, everything is always going to go back to this picture, this image that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed, and then Daniel also dreamed. And remember, in his dream, he saw a stone cut out that hit the image, and the image fell, right? And the stone became a mountain and filled the whole earth. That's what it says in Daniel chapter 2. So when the stone hits the image in the feet and destroys it, that is destroying the Gentile world, the Gentile system of ruling the world. That is destroying it. And that stone that becomes a mountain, that's the millennial kingdom. That hasn't happened yet, right? We're not living in the millennium. So that tells us that the thing still in charge right now is the Gentile system because it hasn't been destroyed. And the only person that's going to destroy it is Jesus. He's the only person that can destroy the whole Gentile system. So Jesus Christ will destroy it at his second coming. That's the Battle of Armageddon. And in order for this to happen, there has to be somewhat of a revival of the Roman Empire, which will be ruled by the Antichrist. And we can see all these things if you like the news and you watch the news, and some people don't. Um, there's so many things going on in Europe right now, and you can see that it's like, uh, for example, NATO or the European Union. I could see how that could easily become the new Roman Empire, the new revived Roman Empire that the Antichrist will rule. Somehow it's going to happen. I'm not sure, but somehow it'll happen. So now the last thing, and we're just barely mentioning this one, the millennial temple. Uh, during the millennial kingdom, the Messiah himself will build the final temple, the real one. Okay? This is an artist's rendition. Somewhat, there will be a river flowing out of the temple, and this is called the river of life. And that's in the millennium. Okay? I have no idea how it's going to happen. But I knew that when Jesus comes back and he stands on the Mount of Olives, he's going to break it in two. The Bible does say that. Ezekiel 41 and 42 describes the millennial temple in detail. I did not put those verses in here because it was just, we would need like a whole study on that. It's just too much. And so this is like a view of it today. And of course, in the future, this will be changed. And I will tell you, we have 3 minutes. You see this little one right here? This one is to the north. So here's the east over here. The west is over here. Uh, this is called the Well of Souls, or it's a really weird name. But anyway, the man that wrote the book that I have said that that one is actually in a very good spot for where the original temple was, and that if it is determined that that's true, you could build a third temple here and leave that alone, and you wouldn't cause like a major war. Because he thinks the temple could really go there and not have to move the dome of the rock. I don't really know. I have to study it a whole lot more before I could tell you if I really agree with that. I do know you cannot go inside the dome of the rock. A Christian can't. You used to could. But inside of there is actually a big old rock sticking up out of the ground. So I don't know about that theory. I do know that God is in charge of history and he's in charge of all things. And we have to remember that whatever happens, he's in charge. But we see all these things converging, and it should let us know. That's why I showed you all that about the rapture. The rapture will happen first before any of the things with the temple happens. And that's what concerns us. So we have to be ready because at any moment we could be removed. So that's the whole reason I wanted to go through this, so we would know the urgency of how fast things are happening for the rapture of the church to happen. So that's the last one, and there's like 3 minutes if y'all have questions or if you need to go.